Good evening everybody, and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and Districts. And today, it's still not about the quarry. That was the video that's supposed to be today, but because I'm waiting on some more bits to come through, I've decided to delay the video by another week. However, that being said, that doesn't mean to say I haven't got anything interesting to talk to you about today. Because today we're going to be talking about these wagons and these ones. And so the ones at the back, these heavy haul Freightliner ones, they're HYAs by Depot. And these ones are Accurascale ones, HYAs. So where do I start? Well, I'm going to talk to you about today. Now, I can't do very much in the way of heavy lifting at the moment because I've damaged my shoulder. Well, it's not working properly, more to the point. So I can't do anything too strenuous or lift up too much stuff. But I have managed to do some test running and do some bits and pieces. And because what I wanted to do is today, I've got some couplings today. These are the new ones by Hornby. These are accessories. I mean, you can't see much from there, but I'll show it to you in just a moment. The R numbers are 7399, and these are the magnetic vacuum pipe couplings, and there's a pack of 8. These are relatively new on the market, and basically because of my quarry and also because of Goswell sidings here, I'm having to do some reversing with wagons, which means that I need some reliable couplings, and basically the NEMs just don't cut the mustard anymore. Well, they haven't done, period. Going forward, fine. Going backwards, forget it pretty much, especially if you want to go back at speed. So I've been toying with the idea of using KDs, which I will be doing, but that will be at the ends of the trains. But in between the wagons, I'll be using magnetic couplings. To me, it just seemed quite reliable, and also when I'm backing them in, I don't necessarily need to keep pulling individual ones apart, so I just keep them as a pack of 4 or something together, and then after the middle part will be split with either a KD or a tension lock, so I can uncouple them easily. And then basically the ends will be KDs. So it's a bit of a mixture, but it does work. Now, a lot of people, I mean, obviously magnetic couplings aren't a new thing. They've been around for a long time, with Hunt's couplings and stuff like that. So most of you will probably have already bought all your Hunt's couplings and magnetic couplings that you need. But I was at a point where I didn't think I'd need magnetic couplings, to be honest, but it turns out that I do. And I decided to put it on this rake here, and I've only got 2 here. These 2 here are my HYA Accurascale wagons, because these are the longest and the heaviest that I have, and trying to reverse these with NEM socket couplings, you know what they do, they just go one over the other. And I have to say I'm impressed with them, because I have actually had them running around on the layout, but they're not without their issues, and that's not because of the couplings, it's actually because of the wagons. I know somebody brought this up before and I couldn't find a video on it, but there are issues with these Accurascale wagons, and I'll get onto that in a moment. So let's just talk about these magnetic couplings. Personally, I really like them. I prefer them over the Hunt's couplings. To be honest with you, I was never really impressed with the service I ever got from them in any case, so I don't really buy anything from them anymore in any case. But that being said, I do like the way that these look. when they're uncoupled. And they come in two sizes. They come in 20mm and 17. I think that's what it says. 20. Is it 20? Yes. Yeah, this is the 20mm that I'm showing you. Basically, the 17mm is exactly the same, just slightly shorter. That's all it is. And if I just show you, hopefully that will show you that. That's how they look. And I'll show it to you because they're already on the wagons anyway. These two are spare at the moment, but I'm going to have to get some more. And they just pull apart quite easily. And as you can see, they've just got two little dots for magnets. And they are pretty strong. And I haven't had any issues with them derailing or anything like that. And they look really nice on the wagons. I really don't like the way that the Hunt's couplings, I've seen some of them are quite big magnets and they're like quite chunky, and they're not very subtle. It's probably the best way to put it and describe them. These are a lot more subtle to look at. In my view, and that's just my personal opinion, and it's not just because I just got these, because I do know I have had some Hunt's couplings which Alan kind of gave me, but I've never liked them. I just don't like their appearance. So for a pack of 8, I should say, from Hornby will cost you £14.40. That's how much I paid. The other ones that I was using, which I really quite like, because I think these were from Bachmann, and these were these ones, but these weren't split. And these were supposed to be for fixed rakes, but obviously I haven't got room for all my rolling stock to be sitting on the layout, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to convert these to the magnet ones. Whilst I haven't got enough magnets at the moment, I will be still using these for the time being until I can get them all converted. So let me take you down low and show you them on the wagon. So here they are on the layout. And as you can see, they're very close. And as you can see also, that they look really quite smart, and it just drops down like they're vacuum pipes. So they look really realistic. I like them. Like I said, you get a close coupling, but this is, like I said, this is 20mm. They do 17, but I think, to be honest with you, I think the 17 will be too short. Certainly, I've run these on second radius curves, and they are pretty tight. So be warned, I wouldn't really like to venture, because I made this mistake with the KDs, where I bought the short ones thinking I didn't really want it to be close coupling, and they were just far too short. So this is 20mm. Like I said, it's just magnets, and then you can just pull them apart. And after, you just see that, let's do that again, and there you go. They look really smart. I'm really pleased with these. In comparison, this is my Dapol Freightliner HYAs, and on the front you can see it's got a KD on it, and that's what I'll tend to be using, just so I can uncouple. So this is what I'm going to be converting the locos to KDs. But in between the rakes, as you can see, I will be using the magnetic ones. But this one here is the original one that I showed you. This one isn't magnetic. It's this coupling here, but that means that has to stay fixed. So that's why I don't like it. But it looks really nice on, and it does run really well, and it does reverse well. So there isn't too much difference in the shape between the fixed and the magnetic ones. Obviously the magnetic ones, it's just that you can just split them and they look just pretty much the same. You can just look at those. There you go, you see them in shot together. You see the shape is pretty much the same, it's just got magnets on it. So if you've got fixed rakes, yep, you can use these ones, which I'm quite happy to use in the meantime until I convert them to the magnetic ones. So that's what I'll be doing. But I'm pleased with both, and they run really well, and it does go around second radius curves. So here is the back end of my HYA wagon by Accurascale, with the magnetic coupling, so you can see how it fits on the wagon. And I have to say, that looks so much nicer than the Hunt's couplings, I have to say. This is just my own personal opinion. It looks far more subtle in its appearance than the Hunt's couplings, whereas the Hunt's couplings seem like it's got one big blocky magnet, which seems quite coarse, especially on the front of locomotives. I think it just looks really, really kind of a bit too obvious and not very subtle at all. That's just my own perspective on things, but I just thought I'd give you this view so you can actually see it for yourself, how it looks on the actual wagon. And then you can obviously make your own decisions as to whether or not you'd like to go for this type of wagon or stick with the NEMs, or maybe get some other type of magnetic couplings, depending on what you need them for. So let's talk about the Accurascale wagons themselves. Now, I have to say, a lot of people have been raving about Accurascale, about all their various wagons, their various coaches, their various locos. And to be honest, they're probably, I'm the same. I'm very happy with these. However, there is a could do better section on these wagons. I have had issues with wagons in the past from Accurascale, and I'm not too sure about my cut downs because I haven't really tested them properly yet, which I will do very shortly. And this is to do with whether or not they can run on second radius curves, because it could be me. And so I'm not going to turn around and sort of blame them as such or anything, but I couldn't see any paperwork which said, and I could be wrong, saying that they only run. Let me see, I've got a box here, that's what I'm looking at. And it doesn't actually mention on the box that I can see what the radius of curves is the minimum. And some of you will probably have found this out already. But basically, I've had issues with every single one of these wagons, and I've got 8. And it's been a bit frustrating, to be honest, because for the high fidelity of the wagon, you shouldn't have to be modifying them in order to get them to run. And unfortunately, if you've got any type of second radius curves, then forget it. You're going to have trouble. And the reason for that is, if you look underneath these wagons, I've actually already done them to all of them. It's to do with the travel of the bogies. They don't travel enough in order to get around second radius curves. They do now because I've modified them. What it boils down to is that there's a bit, I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if there's one that you can actually see. This one I've actually done quite a neat job. I don't know if you can sort of see where I've basically had to do a bit of trimming on the end here, because when the bogie comes round, I'm sorry if this isn't very clear, it just catches it and it won't allow the bogie to swivel as much as it does now. And that's the reason why now it can go around second radius curves. And I don't know what to say really, because I just think to myself, when many of us, especially in the UK, and I watch a lot of American stuff, and they seem to have a lot of space to be able to create some really big, fantastic, long, detailed layouts with sweeping curves and all sorts. But in this country, many of us just don't have that luxury. And we've got to contend with second radius curves, whether we like it or not. And I'd like to see manufacturers actually testing this stuff. I mean, I don't know where the quality control went, to be honest, because like I said, maybe it was designed for the third radius curves, but I can't see any information. I mean, usually on the boxes, this is something else. Sometimes on boxes, they actually put on it minimum radius is second or third or whatever. So I've had to trim every single bit on each side. There's 2 sides to do. You've got this end and this end. And I had 8, so I had 16 bits of flashing and trimming that I had to do in order to get rid of it, in order to be able to get these bogies to swing round. So I wasn't particularly best pleased, because basically what ended up happening is it was such a faff that I've ended up having to glue bits and pieces back on that have fallen off, because they hadn't fallen off in the beginning, but because I've had to try and manipulate the blade to try and cut it, something's either moved or fallen off, and it's just, you know, it's just a bit of frustration, and it's a bit of a heads up for you at home. If you have these wagons and you do have second radius curves and you do have issues with them getting around, then you know that it's to do with the piece of flashing underneath the bider bogie frames, which is, you'll see it will just catch it every single time, so it won't allow it to travel. And even those that I didn't immediately sort out, when they were going round the second radius curves, you could see the friction. There was just so much resistance, it wouldn't get round. So the loco had to work really hard to drag them around this corner. So I ended up having to go through every single one and just removing all that bit of detail underneath, which you're not going to see. I just wish that it was picked up on earlier. Nonetheless, they are beautiful wagons. Now I've done the modifications, they do run beautifully, but it's a bit of a shame really. Whereas my Dapple HYAs, they ran straight out the box, no problem. They ran like a dream. Like I said, I don't know about my cut downs. I haven't really tested my cut downs, but they're going to be the next on my list of wagons to test. So this concludes the end of today's video, and I hope you found it useful and enjoyable. The next video will be on the quarry. I keep saying this, but it will be. Like I said, I'm just waiting on some more bits and pieces to turn up. Actually, I'm waiting on fabric. That's what I'm waiting on. So hopefully that will be here this week, and then I'll be able to fit that and finish it up. Like I said, it won't be finished, but it'll be in a good enough state to demonstrate to you and show you what I've been up to with that. But like I said, in the meantime, in the course of doing the quarry, it has highlighted the need for me to get some magnetic couplings and do that, and also just to try and enjoy the railway and actually try and run some trains and see how well I do. So until the next time, it's bye from Milnhorn Districts. Goodbye.